Coming up next, it's the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive, a special Tuesday edition of PWR Interactive answering your emails. We'll talk about Daniel Bryan, we're going to talk about WrestleMania's forgotten matches, and what would we do if we were running WWE. All that and so much more coming up next on the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson sitting alongside Linda Kay and David Octavius Hero. I said Prime Time, right? It's interactive.
It is interactive.
It is interactive.
And it's
I got
no
confused because you
longer
were here.
Octavius anymore.
Why not? What is it now?
It's DHHS.
David Hero has spoken?
Yes, no more Octavius.
We should have edited that out of last Friday's Prime Time.
Why? It's the
I don't know,
truth.
because now you're going to be saying that for the next month.
Because we're going to get T-shirts. Dave Hero has spoken T-shirts.
The man they call Meathead not able to join us this week, but it is
Well, you know he's
time.
getting married, right?
I heard about that.
He's tasting cake tonight.
Cake.
Yeah. He's got it made.
Special Tuesday edition of PWR Interactive right now. We're going to be live again on the radio tomorrow night. Special Wednesday edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. It's going to be streaming live at pwrshow.com as well. And speaking of pwrshow.com, that's where this stack of your emails came from. And let's get straight to
all
answering
those?
them. Just about.
That's not in the contract. We had like 3-page, maximum. That's like 30.
Scott McCullough from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada sends this in. I do enjoy both TNA and WWE as well as Ring of Honor when I am able to see it. When I look at the top stars in TNA presently, I see a lot of names that made themselves under other banners, whether it be WWE, WCW, or ECW. Now I realize that AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Beer Money, Abyss, and even the Pope are quote-unquote stars, but is it just me and the way I am seeing TNA, or is it a prevailing viewpoint out there that simply because they are in TNA, they don't have the star aura as someone like Triple H or Undertaker do? Am I just simply not looking at it from a balanced standpoint? That email coming from Scott McCullough in Canada. David Hero, your thoughts?
Well, it's simply because TNA hasn't developed them into be the big-time stars. Whenever they bring in somebody new, like a Christian or a Rhino or a Raven, they always have them beat, even Kurt Angle, they always have them beat their current TNA stars. That's why they never have looked like the main eventers that they should be.
You know, when you look at WWE versus TNA, let's say if you took a split screen, you put Sheamus, Undertaker, Triple H, Randy Orton.
Really? Sheamus was the first guy you said?
Yeah.
Kind of like how he looks on the poster of this one.
Do a split screen.
Yeah.
And then you take the big stars from TNA, RVD, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles,
Hulk Hogan.
the Pope,
Mr. Anderson.
Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Samoa Joe even. Looking at them side by side, you can see that difference.
Production quality.
No, not just that. I mean, just a still shot of them. The WWE stars tend to be projected as larger than life.
Because they're called superstars. It's all about the presentation.
I gotta say with that too, as far as building themselves on TNA, I think personally a lot of it comes from like what show they were on when they made it big. And people expect to see the same type of results, same type of star quality, star power, same type of matches. And if they aren't able to produce the same way, whether it be because of creative or just...
Well, and think about too, and it's interesting because when you meet a lot of these people and when you actually get a chance to see them in person, you're many times surprised at how big they're not. Because WWE has perfected the way they shoot people. You ever notice when Goldberg is shot, it was from an upward perspective. Makes him look taller.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always made the point about who you put next to a person, side by side. If you got a star that's maybe a bigger star than somebody they're facing, you will see WWE make sure that they're not really ever seen side by side because you'll be able to see that height and that'll contribute to your perception of that star.
Andre the Giant was never allowed to be seen next to somebody similar in height.
Mhm.
You never saw him with professional basketball players
Right.
because it would kill the aura of Andre the Giant.
Being a giant. Scott, thank you for that email. Let's go down to Plano, Texas, and this one comes from Matthew. And this is sort of, we began talking about this on pre-WR Primetime last week, so David, here I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on this one. Matthew says this, could I get your serious thoughts on the freak, Rob Terry? I'm a big fan of you guys and listen or watch as much as I can, and I really value your opinions and comments because you guys are not biased or quote-unquote marks for a certain company and are just wrestling fans like me. This came up because of the constant bashing of Rob Terry that I see on other websites, on another website rather, that just buries him every chance they have, even when he does have a really good match, even though they are short matches. They also always say he's a red flag and he is on steroids when that has never been proven, has it? Matthew, Rob Terry.
Well, that's your guy. I know that, Meathead's always said he's your breakout star. I mean, what I know of Rob Terry is that when he's with his agents for his matches, he listens. He tries to do the best he absolutely can. Guy's got an amazing look. Have you ever heard him on the mic yet? I'm not too sure. I don't think so.
Once or twice briefly. I
Okay.
believe, yeah.
He's a project, and they know that he's marketable because of his look. As far as him being on the gas, it hasn't been proven, but I mean, come on, he could very well be on something. But we can say the same thing about John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to a lot of guys that have been with John Cena and says, "Oh no, he's just a genetic freak." Rob Terry's a little bit too cut to not be on the gas.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not a big fan of his right now, but who knows what they can mold him into. I mean, they got some great agents down there in TNA. They got Al Snow, they got D'Lo, they got Simon Diamond, and if they can work with him, he could be something.
Is TNA giving him too much right now? Are they projecting him too much to the audience right now? Meaning, if he is this green, if he needs to learn more, and if he does want to learn, should that be happening not on such a main stage scale as it is on Impact?
Right now, TNA is trying to grow an audience. When you're flipping through the channels, you're going to stop and check out this guy.
Yeah.
He's just a monster. Who's not going to want to watch and see, this freak of nature and what he can do?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the ratings, and that's what they're going to use Rob Terry for. Much like the Ultimate Warrior. Wasn't a great worker, but people would stop to look because, wow, look at this guy.
Thank you for that email. Thank you for that email, Matthew, down in Texas. And our next one comes from Matt in the United Kingdom. And Matt says this, I'm a huge WWE fan, and despite the efforts of TNA, I cannot see them being dethroned anytime soon. However, we all know that WWE does many things that frustrate their audience when it comes to the product. My question is, what would you implement to get the best out of a company that, despite being the market leader, longs to have the success of 10 years ago? What would you do to better the product? And as you two think about that, Matt suggests this. Ideas of mine include having an undisputed world champion and possibly forming one belt out of the IC and US titles. The titles need to mean something, so in this case, less would be more. Also, I would form a credible tag team division and bring back the cruiserweights and elevate to the main event, deserving fresh faces such as Christian and MVP. Linda, your thoughts? WWE, obviously the big time company right now, but some of those things that Matt suggested, and his question for us is, what would we do to better the WWE product?
First of all, Matt, thank you for the email, and I gotta say, I agree with you. The first thing that popped in my head was reducing the number of belts.
Yeah.
Growing up watching, I just loved when we had the one main tag team champion, one main intercontinental champion, main world champion. Not saying that, bringing in other belts like the cruiserweight and hardcore belts even wasn't good, but I don't know. I just see if you just have that one main champion, that's what everyone's striving for, to be the number one guy or girl. Be right on top. Excuse me. But I suppose that may be hard considering we have Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think, as we talked about it last week too, if we reduce the number of belts, I think that just like means more. I
Yeah.
don't know. Or
But
die for.
I would challenge you with this, though. Back in the day, there were multiple belts.
Well, I
There
mean,
were
but
the
I said
U.S.
me growing
tag
up.
title. Yeah, agreed. There was a U.S. tag title. There was a TV title. There was a lot of belts. But I think the difference right now in WWE is they're still going with these separate brands. And that shows, or in their mind, that means they need to have these multiple titles. Yet they've unified the tag titles. The Intercontinental title and the U.S. title don't get much, if any, attention. So then why are they there, is the question.
Well, they're there so the Miz has 3 belts in his bag. You know, so he pays the $75. You know,
Oh, he's awesome. He can take
Yeah.
care of that.
But I mean, I agree. They need to go back to just one brand.
Mm-hmm.
They can have 2 separate shows, but let them all wrestle for the same show. The Attitude Era was so successful because everyone meant something.
Right.
Even when the Hollies would wrestle the Rock and Sock Connection, there was a chance that the Hollies could beat them.
Uh-huh.
You know, everyone could beat anybody at any given time. And right now, like, you know, Mr. Anderson said, it's still the same 5 guys.
Yeah.
And they need to change that up. I don't mind so
They
much.
changed it up a little bit last night in the draft. But, I mean, it's still the same thing as, being different brands.
It is the same thing, but I don't mind the belts. The belts are just props. You know, and I'm sure some people are going to disagree with me on it, but really, I mean, the way the belts flip-flop around, it doesn't make a difference anymore who's the champion. Okay? But they need to have everyone under the same brand, because if, like how we saw last week when it was SmackDown on Raw,
Yeah.
those guys would be elevated working with Triple H, working
Mhm.
with John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and so on and so forth.
But does the argument still stand that we would not see as many stars being developed in WWE if it were not for the brand extension?
Look at how many were developed when they only had one show.
Great point. And the brand extension happened, correct me if I'm wrong, but after the WCW failure. It's like
Yeah.
2002.
Well, because they had to create their own competition,
Yeah.
you know, which was
And now
ridiculous.
they don't need that. They have
well, they don't
competition.
need, well,
But they could have done that
they
much
don't
better as
have
well.
competition yet. There's another show on Monday night, and it's not their competition.
Are you
Yeah.
saying that because the Pope returned to Impact last night?
No, I'm just saying. And let's not forget, Mr. Anderson put him in his place, didn't he? See, Kenny's looking out for him. He's going to make sure the Pope gets the ring. See,
Thank God
I got
you're an
connections.
asshole.
That's Kenny's thing, not mine.
I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be your line next.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
If Cal's listening,
we can get
that was in the
deep.
contract, you know?
I got to get my hands on this contract. Matt, I would agree. I think going back to one brand makes a lot of sense for WWE. And maybe they're going to do that. Who knows? Especially given the fact that SmackDown's going to be moving to cable this fall.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
SmackDown's
Talk
moving
about
to cable.
killing off the SmackDown brand.
What do you mean?
Who's going to find them on Sci-Fi?
Who was going to find them on Spike when they moved to Spike? Did Raw.
It's different. The My Network, it's not public television,
Yeah.
but it's network TV.
Right.
More people can get that easier than they can get Sci-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they may go back to one brand and just have like the SmackDown as like show number 2.
But the good thing about the SmackDown move to NXT is in a lot of major markets, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, frequently the shows are bumped in favor of sports coverage. They don't have that challenge anymore.
They're still getting paid big money.
Oh, indeed.
You know.
Indeed. But from a viewer standpoint, if you have cable, SmackDown will be more reliable to find on Sci-Fi.
If they can find it. Not every network has Sci-Fi.
Yeah, true. I think they're in 95 million homes, which is not bad.
You know what? I just think it's a bad call because now it limits your wrestling audience.
True. Joey in Tennessee sends this in. Ever since NXT started, I've been pulling for Daniel Bryan. My problem now is that Daniel Bryan has been losing every match on NXT. Do you think WWE is burying him already? And do you think he will win NXT? Bit of a redundant question there, but
He's not getting buried at all. They're making him into a bigger star. Because he can lose his first 100 matches,
right.
and then his first match against The Miz for the U.S. title, and he beats him.
Mm-hmm. And it's more important. I don't think it'll be
Absolutely.
against The Miz for the U.S. title, but it'll be more important.
Why wouldn't it be against The Miz?
Well, The Miz will beat him easily.
Yeah, okay.
He's awesome.
He is
You took
awesome.
the word out of my mouth. Just about to
I'm
say.
not sure if Daniel Bryan's awesome. He's good. He's
Daniel
great.
Bryan will beat The Miz in his first win.
Hmm.
Are you making a prediction here?
Yeah. Jot it down.
Oh, it's jot it down.
We'll just put it down.
You copy that, Linda?
I
He
got
is
it.
saying that Daniel Bryan will defeat The Miz
Yeah. Just like
for the United States Championship.
he's going to defeat The Miz.
For the United States
If he
Championship.
has the belt, yes. But if it's a non-title match, I can't control that. Okay? Right? Right? Hey, just like Sheamus,
Here we
just
go.
like the Pope. There's been a few others. Yeah,
Alicia. Oh, wait. No, that one.
that was political. But we did talk about Eve. She's a new champion.
Thank you, Joey, down in Tennessee, for that email. Let's go to Canada, back to Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. Adam sends this in. He says, I was looking back at WrestleMania 7 and watched The Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Macho Man Savage in that career-ending match. A lot of people don't really talk about it in the WrestleMania nostalgia factor. But the fact is, the two men put up an incredible match with storytelling and a big payoff. In your opinion, that's us, what is one of your favorite matches at WrestleMania that you felt was incredible, but has not received the accolades you believe it deserves? Great question coming from Adam up in Canada, and we'll throw it to you, Dave, to answer first as I process mine.
Well, I think for me there's two matches that don't get the accolades. But going back to Savage and Warrior,
Mm-hmm.
it's because both guys are hated in the office. Okay, they don't like Warrior, and
Yeah.
Vince hates the Macho Man.
Right.
Okay, so they're never going to get as much good press as they should. One of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time, it doesn't get any accolades, the British Bulldogs against the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was one of the best tag team matches ever. And then how can you forget about Bret Hart beating, or Owen Hart beating Bret Hart,
WrestleMania 10.
opening WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
Great match.
You never hear about it.
Never ever, until right now.
Thank you, Dave.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, your thoughts?
I'm going to throw a curveball on this because you brought up nostalgia in the email, Adam. Thank you. And one of my favorite matches, I will say, even though it got a lot of coverage, but what I've been missing from recent WrestleManias is bringing in different celebrities and other athletes. I know we just had Mayweather, right? But I'm going to go back to WrestleMania 11.
Yeah.
LT and Bam Bam Bigelow. Here's the thing. There's a lot of glitz and glamour, and WrestleMania is always talked up to be this big, hyped show with,
Biggest show of the
star
year.
power. Yeah, exactly. But I miss all the different celebrities, and I don't know. I think it adds as far as making it more mainstream.
Was it Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Is that what?
No,
did it for
no. Well, no. Was that the one with Pam Anderson and Jenny McCarthy?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that the same
Mhm.
WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that WrestleMania already bringing in people like mainstream wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Well, you get more fans.
LT Bam
I don't
Bam.
know.
You really don't ever hear about that match. You
No,
really don't.
Yeah,
No, I miss that. Reggie White was on there supporting him,
Yeah.
and Steve McMichael, all the guys, and it's just, it's a great way to showcase just how many different.
But I think WrestleMania 11, in my opinion, is probably the worst of all time.
Okay.
But you're right; it did have tremendous star power
Mhm.
as well. And that match was, I always questioned why it was the main event, but they got a lot of publicity out of that,
Mhm.
with Lawrence Taylor being involved, obviously. And then, David Hero, I believe it was you who answered as to why Bam Bam was in that match.
Well, he was promised a big push afterwards, and plus they knew that he could handle
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor.
Pat Patterson was the referee for that match, I believe, as well.
I think he was. It's funny. I asked Roddy Piper about that a couple weeks ago when he was in town. I said, really? Bam Bam and LT? Because we talked about him and Mr. T.
Right.
And he said all the boys hated the fact that Lawrence Taylor was in that match.
Yeah.
That nobody wanted to work with him because he thought he was a superstar and could come into their world and do well.
He blew up about 38 seconds into the match.
Yeah. And you know what? Piper told me he's lucky he worked with someone like Bam Bam and not himself, because he would have exposed him for the fraud that he was.
Yeah. I would have to say one match you don't hear about, and that was significant, especially being there live, WrestleMania 22, Trish Stratus versus Mickie James. Probably one of the best female wrestling matches to ever occur on WrestleMania. Granted, there was a little bit of a botch in the finish, but ultimately, it was just a great matchup.
With all of the WrestleMania matches, that's the one you pick?
Matches that don't get much publicity. publicity
How
or
about
talked
the
about much.
first TLC match?
That was actually, I believe that was not at WrestleMania.
The Dudleys and Hardys and Edge and Christian?
That was not the first TLC match.
Okay. That was WrestleMania.
I don't think it was. Look, he asked for our opinion separately. I gave mine. I didn't question yours.
Well, you gave me the funny look like I was nuts.
Well, DNN has spoken. Thank you for that email.
DNN.
I just added one.
DNHS. Sorry,
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you for that email, Adam from Canada. Let's go to our final email of the day, and this one comes from the land down under, Perth, Australia. And the emailer is Mitchell Carter. Mitchell Carter says this. Hey, guys. Hi. How many years do you think The Undertaker has left in him? I personally can't see him seeing out the next year without a hefty break. Do you think we may see him working the stretch from SummerSlam to WrestleMania like he did in 2009? And if he does, how long will he be able to do it for? Linda, your thoughts. How much longer do we get to see The Undertaker performing on a regular basis in professional wrestling?
I'm hoping 4 more years so we can see the perfect 30-0 at WrestleMania.
4 years, 30-0?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do you want
20
this
and 0,
calculator
20
here?
and 0. 20 and 0.
He's currently at 18-0.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking back at the show. Sorry.
2 more years, 20-0.
Thank you.
Hey, he could get there.
Oh, he has to get there.
Why, though?
Because he doesn't want the Miz to catch him.
He doesn't have, he can just leave 18-0.
20 is the perfect number.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Nobody's ever going to get 18.
Well, the Miz might get there. He said he's,
He'll get to 17, maybe 15, maybe 18.
But you know what? At this point in his career, he can do whatever he wants.
Right. And for the last how many years, he has taken that 6-month break over the course of the year. But keep in mind, and this is no slam on The Undertaker, he's beat up. He's in bad
my
shape.
gosh.
He's been doing this for 20-plus years.
We saw him in Phoenix.
Absolutely.
He could barely move.
Absolutely. But he gives a tremendous performance whenever he's in that ring, and I think he's one person, much like a Shawn Michaels, who will not continue beyond his means.
2 more years. That's it. That's all he needs. And then John Cena will retire him.
John Cena.
Ooh, really?
Another
See?
prediction. 2 predictions in this episode?
Yeah. why
Daniel
not?
Bryan will defeat The Miz for the United States Championship. That's
I
what she
said
said.
his first win will be against The Miz. That's what I said.
No, that isn't. You're twisting it now.
If
You
you-
said.
I didn't.
What did he say? He said
The
it was.
title.
Right.
Well, fine, then it's for the
If
title.
he has the belt.
Hey, if it makes you sleep at night, fine. Put the title in the match.
You're still going to spin it when it doesn't happen, though.
It'll happen. Come on, if you're booking that show, and he's now, Daniel Bryan's what, 0-8?
Yeah.
How much more is it going to mean to beat The Miz?
Well, he's got to beat a big superstar like The Miz, yes.
He's going to beat your boy.
Wait, listen, you're sitting here saying The Undertaker's going to get to the 20th year
Yeah.
and lose that final WrestleMania
No.
match to John Cena?
Well, you know what? It'll probably be against John Cena at 20, and then who knows which way it's going to go. But he's going to go to 20 WrestleMania.
Why leave it 19-1?
Okay, then he beats John Cena. But I wouldn't be surprised if John Cena retires him.
Okay. No, I can buy that. I won't challenge you on that one.
Okay, good. 'Cause you'd be wrong.
Thank you for that email, Mitchell Carter from down in Perth, Australia. And remember, you can send your emails to us via pwrshow.com. Emails that have your name and location are qualified to be selected to be a part of this very program. And also, don't forget, we are going to be live on 540 ESPN tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, special night. Our guest,
Special
scheduled to
guest.
appear, Val Venus, will be coming on the program for the very first time. And should I have a political conversation with him? It'd be fun.
Absolutely.
It'd be fun.
He's a
That is
Freetarian, you know.
a what?
He's a Freetarian.
That'll be tomorrow night, streaming live at pwrshow.com, and we'll be back with another edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Television. You can check the website, pwrshow.com, for our broadcast schedule. For Linda Kay, David Hero, and the man they call Meathead, this is Damian Nelson saying thanks for tuning in to today's special edition of PWR Interactive.